This is the story of an experiment in civic design. It is also the story of civic cooperation in which self-help was seen to be synonymous with public spirit. To bring it about, some 80 property owners and occupiers in a town hall area combined to give that area a new lease of life. To their efforts were joined those of the local authority, the Ministry of Transport, the local bus company, the Civic Trust, and a number of architects and designers. The town hall area was at Burslem, Stoke-on-Trent, and this film is a before, during and after record of some of the work done. Most of our shopping areas all over the country have an uninviting, undistinguished and uncared for look about them. All too often the character of the area as a whole and the personality of the individual buildings in it have become submerged in a jumble of discordant shop fronts and jarring advertisements, a clutter of traffic signs and a network of overhead wires. What is perhaps worst of all, there is a depressing drabness due to neglect of colour. With this in mind, the Civic Trust initiated a practical experiment at Magdalen Street, Norwich, to show what can be done to introduce some cheerfulness, dignity and sense of unity at comparatively little cost. And this scheme was most successful. Fresh from this success, the Civic Trust began to look for a second venture. Burslem in Stoke-on-Trent was found to be suitable for the project on account of its industrial character and structural suitability. The Burslem marketplace, with its closed vistas, which gives a true place of good proportions, had marked potentialities and offered a real challenge for imaginative thinking in terms of colour. The Civic Trust made available the services of Mr. Misha Black, who was the coordinating architect for the Norwich scheme, to produce a comprehensive design in collaboration with the city architect and the reconstruction officer. Streets, like houses, accumulate rubbish. Unlike houses, however, there is rarely anyone to spring clean them and send the rubbish to the jumble sale. This rubbish continues to accumulate over the years, long after it has served its purpose, and spoils the appearance of our streets. Every object in the area was examined with care to determine its purpose, to see if it was in the right place, to see if it was well designed and of the appropriate colour. The motto of the team working on this problem became, "If in doubt, throw it out." A particular instance of this was the fountain, which was in fact thrown out. Although the marketplace was completely devoid of trees or a blade of grass, and had deteriorated into little more than a turning area for omnibuses and an unkempt car park, there still remained surrounding the old town hall a group of 80 premises, mostly shops having architectural qualities and in some instances associations with Arnold Bennett, even if they were masked by years of neglect. Before the end of 1959, all the proposals for the various properties in the scheme submitted by the panel of architects had been finalised and agreed. Early in 1960, tenders for the work involved had been invited and accepted, and the renovating and repainting began at the beginning of April 1960 and continued until the first week in May. Before any painting was carried out in Burslem, particular attention was paid to the repair of all surfaces and the removal of old wires, brackets and other excrescences which had accumulated over the years. The opportunity was taken to restore the glazing bars of old windows, to reline sagging gutters and rejoint defective downpipes. It was because this underwork was so carefully done that the painting looked so mannerly. The structure of the building must be worthy of its paint before it is applied, or half the effect will be lost. There are too many colours in the paint manufacturers' catalogues for all to be permissible in any one decorative scheme. It was therefore essential to pick a small range of colours which were suitable for juxtaposition and for the effect required. Two groups of 17 colours selected from the British Standard range were shown in a manual. The first group of 11 strong colours was intended primarily for small areas such as fascias, doors, windows and other woodwork. The second group of 6 paler colours was for larger surfaces. Those admirable neutrals, black and white, were of course used in addition, making a total of 19 colours to choose from. Giving some of these premises their facelift was not a matter of painting alone. A thorough cleaning of existing surfaces achieved a gleaming new look. Darker colours, though not desirable in great quantity, contrast happily with the lighter ones in more general use, and provide the visual stimulation so necessary to the success of any colour scheme. The brightest colours were used to break the area into sections, and thereby add to its interest. They were also used to pick out buildings of special character, and on buildings such as public houses, where a gayer approach seemed more permissible than elsewhere. Brickwork, stone, flint, and other natural surfaces in good condition were not normally painted, though there were some exceptions to this rule. The bus stops were redesigned. The previous ugly panels, bracketed clumsily to their posts, were replaced by purpose-made stove enamel signs with rounded corners, bolted to 2 short arms projecting from capped posts. The wording was simplified and greater emphasis placed on the all-important destination names, which were previously less easy to read or even non-existent. Every remaining object in the area was repainted: militia beacons and their poles, guardrails, street nameplates, telephone kiosks, traffic lights, flagpoles, etc. A number of pedestrian guardrails, most of them damaged by years of use, were removed and in some cases replaced by new bus shelters to the design of the city architect. In the aggregate, the close attention to this sort of detail was a major contributing factor to the trim appearance of the area. Now to take a look at the finished scheme. The use of vivid colours requires skill, sensitivity and experience if vulgarity is to be avoided. A street, after all, is not an exhibition which can easily be changed as soon as the effect becomes tiresome. Buildings are only repainted every few years, and restraint is preferable to an artificial gaiety which may not last its term of office. White, black, light grey, and some carefully selected pale colours contrasting with brick or stone are nearly always preferable to strong colours inexpertly used. In such a scheme, brighter colours can still be used for visual punctuation, for doorways, for some shop fascias and blinds, or to terminate the view down a passage. Projecting signs can add interest to a shopping street and be helpful to the public. They must not, however, be numerous, or they will defeat their own ends, as well as spoil the appearance of the street. The signs that were retained, in most cases they were inn signs, or related directly to the business of the shop, were painted dark or strong colour, to contrast with that of the building, with lettering and perhaps a border in white or lighter colours. A considerable number of fascia boards in Burslem were of poor shape, too large in size or the wrong height. In particular, as elsewhere, they had often crept up over part of the first floor windows, thus destroying the balance of the facade. Materials used for the new fascias were, in the main, painted wood. Highly reflecting surfaces for shop fascias are rarely satisfactory, and dark colours are generally to be preferred to light. The average cost of painting each shop in the scheme worked out at approximately £100. In some cases where the opportunity was taken to carry out structural repairs, this figure was exceeded, but most traders have made their contribution within the £100. It is of interest to record that of the 80 premises in the marketplace area, several shop fronts have been renewed altogether. Many fascia boards over shops have been renovated and improved by new lettering, all ugly advertisement boards and blatant trade signs have been removed, and most shops have installed new sunblinds and colourful curtaining to their upper windows. These are but a few of the improvements which the scheme has brought about. On these two pictures, side by side, you can get an effect of the before and the after. Above we see it as it is now, below we see it as it was before. Here we can see how remarkably well the painters made the lampposts merge in with the background rather than stand out as the bare concrete used to do. All unnecessary words have been removed from building fronts and paint applied in light pastel shades. Here we can see the old buildings on the right and the new decor on the left. Side by side it is possible to get a better and clearer impression of what the improvement has meant to these buildings. The new garden has been specially designed to provide a pleasant setting for the old town hall, a building of considerable architectural interest. Trees which have been planted in the garden include sycamore, thorn, plane and alder. Lawns and flower beds contrast with the new ornamental paving, terrace and bus shelters. The City Council has spent nearly £22,000, including £8,800 for the gardens, shelters, trees and ornamental paving. This Stoke-on-Trent improvement breaks new ground. It applies the lessons of Magdalen Street to a drab industrial area. Its clean colours and newly planted trees presage the livelier townscape made possible for such areas by smoke abatement and advances in industrial technique. Fortunately, the local authority had the imagination to see and the courage to prove how much more advantageously a cleared site could be used if its redevelopment was designed as an integral part of a larger whole. Burslem can indeed be proud of what she has achieved in this scheme, which will serve as a fine example of what can be done to improve a townscape by joint action and goodwill. Before this year is out, 4 more urban facelifts sponsored by the Civic Trust are due to be completed. Another 20 are in hand, and well over 100 more at various stages of preparation. It is hoped that the results of the Stoke-on-Trent improvement will pave the way for more ambitious schemes of rehabilitation and renewal in our great industrial cities.